Can you hear us properly?
Yeah, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me as well.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Let's start our section. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening, everyone, especially to our guest of honor, Ir.Luqmaan Ahmad Zaidi. Mr. Ir.Luqmaan, how are you doing?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much.
So the reason why we've chosen you to this interview because the requirement for our professional English 2 subject is to interview a figure who has 4 years of experience or more, and we are fortunate that we've known you. So you are also an engineer, and one day we will probably, inshallah, graduate as an engineer too. So this session will not only fulfill our requirement for the assessment, but it will also be one of those inspirational stories for all of us, inshallah.
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 So before starting this interview, there are two things that I would like to state. The first one is this session will be recorded and posted on YouTube. And the second one is we will require a stamp and signature from your side as a proof that we have interviewed you. Okay, so let's just start right off with our self introduction. My name is Nabila binti Isha.
Yeah,
Hello,
my name
Tariq.
is Shabazar.
Hello, Tariq.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Adi bin Ahmad Kamal.
Okay, hello, ID.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, Mr. Luqmaan. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. My name is Nurul Shazwani. Thank you very much.
Okay, hi, Shazwani.
Hello, hello, Mr. Luqman. I'm Ilmi Farhan bin Nurika. It's nice to meet you. Hi.
Hi, Amy.
Okay, so that was a nice self introduction. So we'll just start right off to the first question. We've already seen your LinkedIn, we've browsed through it, and I've seen the tremendous work that you did to the industry and also along your line of work. But we also like to know a bit about yourself from your side.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much, Nabila. I hope you all can hear me very well because I'm
Yes.
afraid that if the internet, having some hiccups or something like that. So my name is Luqmaan bin Ahmad Zaidi. You can call me Luqmaan. Okay. I was born on 4th of September 1982 in Kuala Lumpur. So you guys can guess how old I am now. Okay, so I was brought up in Gombak, Selangor, and spent my primary and lower secondary education there. I'm graduated from Staffordshire University, UK, okay, with a bachelor's degree in electronic engineering. Okay, currently I am an engineer in SIRIM Berhad. Okay, so most of my job scope is more inside the SIRIM industrial research. Okay, I'm also a professional engineer. Okay, awarded by Board of Engineers or BM. I'm also a corporate member as well for the institution of Engineers Malaysia or IEM. I guess most of the engineering students familiar with BM and IEM, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite so.
So I think that's my brief introduction. Is that
Okay.
answering your question?
Yes, that
All
answers
right.
our question. Thank you. So, how did you start to get involved in research and development field? Did you start as a normal engineer first, or you start right off in R&D?
Okay. Basically, when I'm applying for this post, I read upon the what we call it, the advertisement, right? The job vacancy advertisement. I think back in 2006. So I stumbled upon the advertisement in the Star newspaper. I'm not sure whether this current generation or these people, I mean younger people nowadays, because during last time we did a lot of reading from the job advertisement in the newspaper. So they had this advertisement in Saturday, the Star Jobs advertisement. So it already spell out clearly there. It is an R&D position. So that's where it started. All right.
Wow,
Okay.
that's great. Because now we only see the advertisement through Twitter
Yeah,
Yeah,
or website.
yeah.
Okay.
Generation Z, they call it.
yeah. Those of
Yes.
us still growing up are still busy on TikTok, so
Yeah.
there's that.
So you have
Okay.
TikTok account. Okay, right.
No, I'm too old for that right now.
Okay.
So when we hear about, I don't know about other group members, but for
Okay.
me personally, when I hear R&D engineering, I think it's a bit intimidating because other field of engineering probably they have their own standard of procedures or the work can be a bit repetitive. And I'm not saying that, of course, R&D has its own standard of procedures, right? But are you expected to think out of the box? So what does the field expect from R&D engineers?
Okay. Speaking of this, I think that's the reason why I'm applying this post back in uh,
Mm-hmm.
2006, which is 15 years ago, I guess. So um, my previous job was in that was my first position as engineer when I graduated. Okay, I was working in Pantai Medivest and Berhad. Pantai
Mm-hmm.
Medivest and Berhad was was still is one of the three concessionaires for the hospital maintenance in
Mm-hmm.
Malaysia. So they are holding a concession agreement in the southern part of Peninsular Malaysia, which is Negeri Sembilan, Melaka, and Johor. So I was positioned in Seremban, Hospital Seremban, GH General Hospital Seremban, which is now known as Hospital Temu Jaafar back in 2005. So that was my first job as engineer. So my KPI or my job scope was clearly stated. To have one of the major thing is to supervising all the biomedical and facilities engineering for the hospital itself. So
Mm-hmm.
more or less we can, as a layman, see it as a maintenance um,
Mm-hmm.
job. Okay, so I was supervising these all these scopes and also hospital implementation plan. So I can say it's a bit yes, of course, repetitive. So, but of course, it's put food on the table, right? So because I know
Yeah.
it's job, and so because
Yeah.
I learn a lot of things from there. I learn
Mm-hmm.
communication skills from there. Okay, communicating with people from various ages, and then upon seeing the R&D advertisement from SIRIM, so I had this impression that, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting post. So since back in my undergraduate days, I'm quite, I'm quite interested in,
All
innovating or something like that. I also
right.
involved in a final project competition back in my H&D days and also my degree. So I did challenge myself to apply for that post, and Alhamdulillah, I secure it and up until today. And regarding the R&D environment, is like for us in industry is a bit different from the academia, because for academia we are also doing R&D, but you have like a set of KPI as well, right? So I
Yeah.
think most of you, if you are already aware by your your level today, like academia, they have a tendency to produce fundamental research,
Mm-hmm.
um, producing papers, but for us we also produce papers, but we are more towards applied engineering. So in my case, okay, most of my projects we assist people, we assist people from even from inside or outside client.
Mm-hmm.
um in terms like okay, one of my projects I did was developing a pilot plant for process engineering. Okay, so a project called bioplastic pilot plant. So for the engineering task, for the engineering team, so we do the development work. So narrow down is to my scope is I'm designing the control and instrumentation system, which is the SCADA system or something, if you are familiar with that term.
Yeah.
So so in that case, I have to design it from scratch using industrial standards. Okay, so we have standards over here because we are called we have to comply with these standards. Okay, we have to
Mm-hmm.
comply with standards because we need to use readily available in the market, off the shelf components, everything like that. So that's where we need to comply with the standards, and we need to deliver the project. And according to our, we need to do some innovation to achieve the deliverables or something like that. Yeah. Am I answering your question, Nabila?
Sorry. Okay,
Am I?
that was very impressive, and it gave me a perspective that the younger generations and also myself to try to not be afraid to try.
Yes, of
Hearing your
course.
story
Yeah.
just now.
Do not
Okay.
be afraid.
Okay. So along your 15 years of career, what is your proudest achievement?
That question is quite wide. So, which kind of achievement that you want
Um,
to be specific?
in your field of work?
Okay. Okay. What I can share with all of you is that because my current job, because I'm always, I'm not sticking with the same project or the same what do you call it, any kind of, because every time of my project coming in is quite unique, in the sense of it, it different, it is different. So okay, when I look back, okay, if I still seeing my project, so in this case like pilot plants that I've been developing or contributing to the development, when I'm seeing the plant is still in operation, I'm quite proud of that because it's still it's still operating. So
Yeah.
yeah, but of course there are some projects that they have to close down the operations, something like that. So we just move on. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, thank you so much for your answer. That give me some lesson and a new perspective, of course. Okay,
All right.
so moving on to the next session, which is study experience. I will pass this session to Mr. Shapastari.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, salam.
Thank you, Nabila, for your passing the session on to me. Uh, well, you know my name, sir. My name is Shabazz Tariq, and I just want to say, remarking on what you mentioned earlier, it's pretty interesting to see how you've managed to change your projects multiple times and still manage to uphold your values and still manage to find a way to succeed. It's like you have a great way of trying to challenge yourself multiple times and then still finding yourself coming up at the top. So, anyways, I just wanted to remark on that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just be asking you about your a couple of questions regarding your student life and how you, based on what you experienced. Nabila just mentioned that you pursued your further education in Stanford University, which is in United Kingdom. That's correct, right?
Staffordshire University.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
my bad.
Stanford in US. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Whole different ballgame.
Yeah, it's okay. No problem.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to ask you, like, when you were a student there, like, what sort of challenges did you face while sort of pursuing your education there for, whatsoever years it was you had to be there? It could be regarding, like, did you feel homesick, or how was it like being in a foreign land, people speaking different languages, different slangs, terms.
Yeah.
Also, greatly like being a Muslim in like a country which is, where is, Islam is not, necessarily well practiced there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tariq. So yeah, I try my best to share. Um, I had like it's not really very long, my experience in the UK. I did my final year there, continuing from my higher national diploma from UniKL MFI. At that time it was British National Institute. So kind of like short stint. Okay. But it quite challenging for me because when I first came into that university that you're suddenly in the third year, you're in the final year, all the expectations and all the that kind of challenge that you need to back up, you know, compared to the students that arrived there from the first year. So of course I need to back up. So I did. So speaking of other experiences is like cultural differences. Okay. Of course, like you said, I'm coming from a Muslim country. Okay, where
Yeah.
Islam is the national religion, and going there is quite challenging. But in United Kingdom, because there are a lot of Muslim communities, so it can be tackled, you know.
Oh, so you
And
you found yourself in a Muslim community.
yeah.
No,
So
alhamdulillah.
there are there are mosques and prayer room in the university. So I think they also they are quite the British people, they are quite accepting, and tolerant towards Muslim as well. So I guess it's not really, how to say. Of course, it's challenging, but it can be cool.
Hmm.
And
So it's
also,
not just roses and dandy there.
yeah,
It's yeah.
and also food. Food is very important, right?
Oh yeah,
Especially for Malaysians. So,
yeah. Tell
so
me
yeah,
about it. Same here.
yeah, different taste bud. You're going there. You have to different food. So, but it's quite interesting, to learn other people's culture as
Mm.
well. Not just Westerners, because we also meet up with other international students from China, from other part of Asians and also from other part of European countries. So yeah,
Uh,
quite interesting to know and to experience, and also different environment, of course, with the weather. So in
oh yeah, how
Malaysia,
was that like?
yeah, because in Malaysia you have like all year long summer, right?
Oh yeah.
So, but there you got 4 seasons, so you got to acclimatize with the condition there.
That's something that even I had to adjust with in
Yeah.
Malaysia because like where I'm from, we have like all four weathers and all extreme versions of it. So when it's cold, it's super cold. When it's hot, it's super hot. So you know,
Where
it
you
was.
from, Tariq?
Oh, I'm from Pakistan actually, sir.
Oh,
Yeah,
Pakistan.
yeah. But like my whole life, I've been growing up in Oman. But like we keep
I
going
see.
in and out. So that it was. It's just like Malaysia all of a sudden always hot weather. So
Yeah.
it took. Yeah. Okay, so next, I just want to ask you, like, how did you like cope up with these problems or like challenges? Like, what did you have a particular tactic or something that you uh, implemented? Like, okay, this scenario I'm going to do this. This scenario I'm going to do that. Something like that.
Okay. It's a very interesting question. So of course, I have keeping in touch with my family. You know, those days we have MSN Messenger, if you are familiar with it.
Oh yeah,
Yahoo Messenger, MSN Messenger. So it can. We also have video conference session.
yeah.
We have video calls. So
The
it's
prime of technology back then.
yeah. So I was lucky. If I was studying in the 80s or the 90s, that won't be, that kind of technology won't be there. So also, I have peers, from the same country, coming together with me. So we are maintaining our relationship with the same peers from Malaysia.
Oh,
So yeah, of course, because if anything that happened in the home country, that probably some news, so you get in touch and get in contact as well.
oh, I see. So
Mhm.
you were fully prepared, basically. Like you had a good scenario, like good way to deal with things right there to tackle it.
Yeah. I have came up with a plan.
Yeah,
Yeah, sort of.
taking notes at night, something.
Yes.
Yeah. So next, I just want to ask you, like, you mentioned you did, 1 year over there, and for
Yeah.
your last year, right, for your
Yeah.
academics. So, did you get involved in any other, what about any activities outside your academics or university life? Did you partake in some extracurricular activities? And if so, like, would you mind advising some of the upcoming engineers such as ourselves, like what would be like the right you know activity or event to involve ourselves in, who might because we might just find ourselves going through the same thought process as you did. What would be a good way to diversify my portfolio, besides just my academics.
I see. So, okay, that's a very interesting question as well. So, um, I think most of the universities, I think even in Malaysia, they have these kind of student unions, right? So in the UK also they have student unions. So I also did involve, during in the beginning, uh, my time there. And then, of course, I did join, the usual weekly football session with my friends. We
Nice.
also have uh, friend from Oman as well. Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah, I
Wow.
befriended with the
What a
Oman.
tie-in.
Yeah.
Was
So,
he good at football?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Most of them are,
You
yeah.
guys, you guys are good.
Yeah. Not
So,
me, them. Not me.
so we had football session, weekly football session. That's the usual for the male students. So, and also, I also partake in the Malaysian Student Society in the whole UK, where we competing against other universities, Malaysians from other universities. So we have this like Nottingham games, Sheffield game. So I partake in the volleyball. Yeah,
So it was an inter-university like
yeah.
competition, or oh wow, that's pretty impressive. Did you guys win, or like come back
Yeah.
with some?
Yeah, but unfortunately, not in the top three.
Oh, it's fine.
But it was a very, nice and fruitful experience for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to ask you like the last question for me, which is what was your like personal life, besides just your academics? Well, how did you, you know, deal with your day-to-day activities? In terms of maybe budget, interacting with people, celebrating different events, because like for example, here in Malaysia and as well back in Pakistan, Oman, we let's say it's Eid, we would always get holidays, but
Yeah.
most likely your holidays were back means in the UK it was gonna be during like Christmas or Thanksgiving, right? So
Yeah.
how is it, dealing with that?
Well, eventually, I cope with that. You have to break your fast during lecture session, and I still remember the Ramadan that I had experienced back in the UK. It was during winter. Yeah, during
Ooh.
winter. So, um, I think Maghrib prayer or Azan is around 4:34 p.m., something like that. So we have to
Hmm.
break fast, every one of the Muslim friends, even non-Malaysian Muslim friends, so they brought their, chocolates or something like that, just like food, a snack, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, so it
during
wasn't
that.
proper meals basically, just
Yeah.
snacks.
So after that, we just had a proper meal after the session. And talking about Aidilfitri celebration, celebration. Um, I'm not saying this is I'm encouraging this, but some of my friends, they skip class for that, but but not for me. So usually we had this celebration during weekends. Yeah, just put on hold the weekend.
Oh, I see, I see.
Bring it forward. Yeah.
Yeah, what about something like, I understand because most of us are students, we tend to try to live on a student budget. Did you
Yeah.
have like
Oh.
any problems like that? Like, did you suffer any sort of, budgetary crisis or something like that?
Mm, yeah.
Or did
That's
you happen to get a job back then? Like, was it, were you able to provide for yourself or something?
okay. During my study time, um, I didn't do any of temporary jobs or part time because I want to concentrate because I'm in the final year, right? So,
Okay.
of course, before coming to the UK, I did I did come with a financial plan. So, of course, you must have I'm not saying stash, but some kind of savings that you might use during emergency, something like that. So and also be, I'm not saying being frugal, but be prudent with your spending. You know, you know, as a student, you cannot spend lavishly unless you have that kind of source of financial.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, just be careful with the with money. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Be
Okay.
careful with your spending. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Well, I can say that you're way more prepared than I ever was before I traveled here. So, yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Luqman. I'll pass the session on to Mr. Idol right now.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir.
That's my cue. Hello, Mr. Luqman. I'm Muhammad Adi bin Ahmad Kamal.
Okay.
And thank you, Shabas, for the warm intro.
You're
For,
welcome, man.
for this session, Mr. Luqman, I will ask you about your experience as a professional.
Okay.
Okay. So, as far as I know, engineering workplace can come quite harsh uh, environment. So,
Okay.
my first question is, how do you handle pressure at your workplace?
Okay. That's a very wide scope as well. I mean the questions, because the pressure can can be coming from various angles. But I can give example. Yeah. I think engineering is quite challenging in terms of every field they have their kind of challenges, right? But for especially for engineering, you have to meet certain I'm not to say but expectation in terms of like um, from from your knowledge, and also from your preparedness in harsh environments. It can be many kind of things, such as if you're working in the field, um, whether you are commissioning somewhere in the remote area, you know like my experience during conducting a project in Sabah, Tawau, Sabah. If you know, is Tawau, Sabah is quite the town itself is okay, but I went to um, oil palm jungle, you know. So I have to set up a plant over there, the design, we did a design in back in Peninsula, and then we bring and set up the plant in Tawau. So the place itself is quite remote. So we have to prepare in terms of our supplies, and also the rotation of the manpower, enough of engineers and technicians going there, and also the schedule, so it can be, the challenge can be, you need to be tough in terms of mental and physical as well. Yeah. So yeah, is that answering your question?
Kind of.
Yeah. So
That's actually quite a great answer. So as engineer at your workplace, the atmosphere, like you said, can
mm,
be quite tense,
yeah.
especially between your colleague and your co-worker. So
Okay.
this brings to which is how do you tackle conflicting ideas with other people, or in simpler words, how do you make argument with your co-worker?
Okay. Okay. This is a very interesting question as well. So because of course there are problems and challenges everywhere, especially when you're conducting projects. So but of course it must be, all the team members, or your colleagues, um, the synergy must be there, you know. So meaning that you need to have a mutual understanding. But of course, we cannot avoid this conflict or argument. So from my experience, try to be diplomatic as possible. Okay, discuss it personally, you know, find the root cause and get the mutual agreement. Be ethical and be professional as you can, because we have goals, right? Okay, and also we are racing against time, which is the schedule of the project. So
Yes.
we don't want to waste time just to argue, petty things, you know. So yeah, but of course it cannot be avoided. But that's the best advice that I can give, and I've experienced that before. Yeah.
Mm. Uh, Good to finally understand that, but it's actually understandable because we have some irritable friend, at work.
Okay.
So,
All right.
uh, my next question is, do you agree that professional and personal life should be separated and also balanced?
I'm not sure whether the correct term is separated, but there's of course there is thin lines, a boundary between. But we try to be professional as we can. Like myself, um, I have also my own family. Then I need to adjust accordingly to my work demand and everything. Try to discuss with family if you have any, you know, um, requirement from your workplace or regarding your job. You need to be outstation or something like that. Try to discuss it with your family. Try to arrange things, and also for at the work as well. Probably we can discuss with our bosses, um, our superior. Probably let them know that you're having some kind of challenges, at home, that probably make them understand. And also, but of course, every decision that you make, that we make, it must be ethical and professional as you can.
That's one good advice. Thank you, sir. And my last question for this session is, what is the most challenging task that you face on your workplace?
Um, I think most of the challenges that I experienced, I know this is just me. I think is you know, uh, wasting this time. Because when you are doing projects, we have this project risk management. So even though we plan it carefully, um, there are things that we call it unforeseen circumstances, something that beyond our control, something like that. So when I bump into that, and uh, it 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 will affect the timeline of the schedule or the project, the milestone. So we try our best to deliver. I did try my best to deliver, and also there are cases where I need to negotiate with my client, and discuss with them. Okay, this is our challenges and everything. So make them understand. And alhamdulillah, so far I manage. And but of course, it is it is everyone's problem that you facing challenges. So including me. So I think delivering the project according time, sometimes it's successful, sometimes you need to negotiate with your client. Yeah.
What happened if this is not the question actually, but what if sometimes that you go over the deadline? I mean, it's beyond the deadline already. What happened then?
In
Do you
project, yeah,
uh, do you ever experience that?
yeah, I did. Yeah. So in project management, we have this term called extension of time, EOT. So we get our consent from the client, and then get them understand, brief them properly, this is the case. So get the documentation, get the documentation done, so get the agreement done and make them understand. So that is, we call it extension of time. Yeah.
Mm. So that's his great answer, and I'll be sure that one of us will try that one day. So
Okay.
Inshallah.
inshallah. So thank you again for answering all of my questions. So
Okay.
your answer in this session will inspire us and make us strong in the future, and maybe we will use it. So for without further ado, I'll hand this interview session to our beautiful friend Nurul Shazwani.
Okay. Assalamualaikum, Mr. Luqmaan.
So long.
And thank you, Ideal, for the nice gesture. And thank you to Mr. Luqmaan for your sharing of, your experience, your advice, your lesson from being a professional, right? It,
Okay.
I can conclude that being a professional is quite hard and tough and challenging, like you said just now. But then I believe that big job do require big responsibilities, right, Mr. Luqman?
Yeah.
Without further ado, allow me to continue this interview. We are going to the last session, which is the reflection. Are you ready, Salman?
Uh, can I drink some water?
Okay, sure.
Of course.
I think we all need a stretch or something.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. For the first question, Mr. Luqman,
Yeah.
tell us, we are wondering to know who influenced you to enter this field of work. Like just now, you said that you actually applied for this work because you saw an advertisement, right? But then,
Yes.
is it there is a specific person or an idol that you idolize that actually trigger your spirit and passion to start your career in this path, work of yours?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that question. So, who influenced me? Um, I think first I can say that it was my parents. Okay, my both of my parents. Because I have this kind of inclination since I was small that when I saw, you know, people being an engineer, you can see on the TV. So when you read books and something like that, so I feel inspired. And then my parents encouraged me, okay, to take up this field, to take up this engineering field. So yeah, so I think um, I give this honor to my both my parents to inspire me. Mm.
That is a nice, because parents always support us and so on. Of course, we want to provide the best for them too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's proceed. Um, uh, in your point of view, Mr. Luqman, do you
Okay.
think your job right now is beneficial to the society? Like, what does society benefit from you and your job?
Wow, that is a tough question. Okay. I think it's quite generic. Um. Okay. Uh, as engineers, we try to, engineers basically in layman term, we solve problems, like, so we solve problems. Okay, so we try to innovate and we try to build things, and of course engineers are the one who maintaining that as well, like infrastructures, all the systems. So I think it's part of the chain. It's part of the value chain of the society itself. So that's the role of engineers. Like, teachers who are, giving you lessons, educate you, and doctors who try to prescribe you. Okay, and we have, all walks of life, they have their responsibilities, right? So same like engineers. So we are solving problems, not trying to make problems, but we solve problems. Okay.
Yeah, that is true.
Right.
Okay. For the last question, from me, we are curious to know your school of thought about today's youth. I mean, being at your job right now,
Hmm?
I'm sure you do have some experience working with the youngsters, or maybe they work for you or in the same environment workplace. So, in your opinion, has
Hmm?
the youth work ethic changed in the workplace? I mean, like, is it a good thing or a bad thing in your opinion? What do you see their ethics so far like that?
Okay, you mean in terms of ethics, or is it okay? Yeah, I try my best to answer. Okay, throughout my experience, I have interns, who are come and go at my workplace. Yeah, they are not forever, right? They're not staying forever. So yeah, they are serving,
Do we get to intern in your place?
you can try to fly.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so but throughout the years, what I found that today's generation, they are quite, they have access to a lot of information because we have internet, right? So
Mm,
yeah, like your friend
okay.
mentioned, like TikTok, everything. So you have YouTube, countless of information over there. You can ask and seek whatever information you want. And also, what I found that in today's generation, today's youth, they are quite, you know, they they got their own opinion and they share it. You know, so so they are quite, they are being frank as well. But of course, you know, uh, there is some, polishing need to be done. I call it polishing lah. So we try to guide them, for the interns, try to think something out of box, and also try to be creative, try to be more creative and innovative. Yeah, because with creativity and innovation, it helps you solving problems. Yeah.
Uh, okay. But I'm interested to know, like, so far,
Mhm.
based on your experience, do you have like any problem with the youngster, like, earlier fight or anything, like for the ideas and so on? I mean, does they trouble you? I mean, the bad scenario lah, the bad scenario that happened to you.
That scenario. Because we don't have many interns as for now. I mean I can count with my fingers lah. So so far they've been good. I don't know, maybe because I think it depends from your upbringing, right? So whether the family or the parents, they've given liberty for them to speak up for themselves, uh, something like that. But some of the younger generation of my interns, they just follow whatever we try to guide them. But some also, they did ask, why we need to do that, do this, something like that. But it's good because we know that we get the feedback. Okay, of course, I think in the Western countries, they give you some liberty or freedom to speak up for yourself, right? In a good way, in a positive way, like freedom of speech. But of course, we cannot abuse that, right?
Mm, okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Luqmaan. I
Okay,
will now pass to Mr. Irfan.
Okay. Thank
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 you.
you, Miss Nurul Shazwani. Continuing the session, my first question to Mr. Luqman is: if you are not a research and development engineer, what other ambition would you pursue? Or maybe have you ever imagined yourself working in other career fields?
Okay. That is a very different question,
Yeah,
what I expected. Okay. So yeah, if I'm not an engineer, is it? So is
yeah.
it, you know, in R&D or not being an engineer?
No, any.
Uh, an
Yeah.
engineer.
Okay. Yeah. For myself, probably yeah. I'm not saying I'm good at numbers, but I like, doing some calculations, So
Yeah.
maybe I would like to take up accountancy, probably, perhaps. I don't know, but accountancy. No offense to the accountants, but when I've given some thought of it when before I'm pursuing my study in engineering. Um, most of the jobs are, you know, indoors. I mean, sitting at a desktop. But interesting to know that you do some calculations. They'll see numbers. Of course, dealing with profit and loss, something like that. But being an engineer, it gives me some other perspective. I can do field work. You know. Not really confined to my desktop or office environment, something like that. So I get to out to do outstation work, seeing people, something like that. Yeah, so yeah, if I'm answering your question, probably I would like to take up accountancy.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Thank you, Mr. Luqman, for your answer. Even it is an unexpected question. Okay.
Okay.
My next question is about ethics because, as we know, ethics has influence over decision we make and the actions we
Yeah.
take, from our personal lives to our professional careers.
Okay.
So, just asking for your opinion, for young people to succeed as future leaders, what kind of ethics they must have?
Oh, all right.
Just
So
in your opinion.
okay. uh, Kind of tough question as well. All right. So yeah, ethics. Ethics can be broad. It is a broad subject. So what I can suggest or what can I advise is follow the ethics. Whatever that have been imposed. You know, try try not to cross the line. And what I would like to add is other than ethics, probably communication skills. You know, so because you can solve problem with good communication, right? So being a leader, you need to communicate well, okay? With your subordinates, with people you are managing. So and also with your superiors as well. So if like say that you are in the middle management, being a manager, right, answering
Yeah.
to CEO and managing your subordinates, like your people in the subordinates line. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr.Ir.Luqmaan, for your answer for that question. And we have come to the last question for this
Okay.
interview session. And my last question is, what advice do you want to give for the future generation?
Okay.
It can be anything, anything from lifestyle or in choosing a career, just anything.
I see. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So that's a very broad topic subject.
yeah.
Okay, but I can give you, it's not specific, but I try my best. Okay. For I think try not to, you know, stop learning. You know what I'm saying? Learning is not really something that official. You have to attend courses, or you need to attend like after this, after you are graduating, attending masters or PhD. It's also good. It's part of learning as well, but learning can be many forms. Reading. From the internet. You can look at YouTube. Nowadays there are a lot of good channels in the YouTube. They give you advice how to do that, how to do this. Communication skill. You can learn communication skill from the YouTube. And also some engineering and technical skills as well. And try to keep updated with latest technology. Okay. The buzzword today, I mean nowadays, like data science, artificial intelligence. Even though AI or artificial intelligence has been coined out, I think like 50, 40, 50 years ago already. But nowadays, because of of the latest computing technology, computer are getting faster, so they can calculate very fast. So we can implement AI, efficiently. So learn data science, learn AI, like those are in the industry 4.0 or fourth industrial revolution. Technology pillars, is one of them. Like 3D 3D printing,
Yeah, yeah.
something like that. So try not to confine yourself in the discipline itself. Like I think most of you are mechanical engineering, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yes,
because
yes.
nowadays there are many people who are doing this multidisciplinary or cross discipline kind of thing. So even for mechanical graduates, they can do coding. They learn coding like
Yeah,
Python. Yeah. So don't confine yourself, in the in
Box.
in just a mechanical engineering area or something like that. Yeah. So try to explore new things, because the future jobs, we don't know that probably AI will replace, you know people, to do tasks, something like that. So we also must evolve, in terms of our thinking and knowledge. Never
Yeah.
stop learning. Yeah, that's the
So
best advice.
so so we should keep up with the new technology then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, time to buy a new iPhone now. There you go. Yeah.
But iPhone is very expensive.
Yeah.
Unless you get
Don't
good.
worry, I have an arm to sell. It's fine.
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Lukman, for your advice.
Yeah.
And I want to pass this session to Miss Nabila.
Alright.
Okay,
Thank you.
so that's the end of our session. So we've learned a lot and tremendous from you. So we would like to express our biggest gratitude for your willingness to share stories with us. What we learned just now from my session personally was to be resilient, to don't be afraid to try new
Yeah.
things. But once you try something, stick with it and be committed to it. That's something that I personally am still trying to learn. And hearing your stories, there are some projects that end up, you know, not doing any progress, but you move on from that. So life is about learning, being persistent and
Yeah.
resilient, and moving on. So that's what I learned. From Shabazz just now, I learned that if you want to go abroad, if you want to try new things, it's okay, but be prepared and
Yeah.
have a plan. You know, there are unexpected circumstances out there. So with Mr. Ideal just now, when we communicate with people, we cannot, sometimes I can be a bit, when dealing with people can be a bit emotional. So what I learned is that we have to be
Yeah.
diplomatic and professional when communicating with people. And with Miss Wani just now, we got that. What was it? So we have to we have to always learn new things. Yes. So and also not confine ourselves in a box. And what I saw from you is that even though I'm not saying that you're old, but like I'm 25, right? So sometimes we put a limit to ourselves. Oh, I'm 25, so I'm just gonna be complacent with my life, and I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna go with the flow. But what I've seen from you is that I've seen through your resume and your past experiences is that you've never stopped growing yourself. And right now you're still studying in masters, right? So
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
that was that was very impressive. Like you're now a dad, a father, but yeah, that was something that we are trying to implement ourselves. So yeah, thank you for that. Like thank you for this session also.
Thank you, Nabila. Keep your thoughts.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's the end. Can we take a group photo? Like
Oh,
I think I
Sure.
want to record.
Yeah.
okay.
One, two, three. Wait, wait. Okay.
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 Uh,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
So thank you very much, everyone.
Okay,
Thank
send
Yeah.
you.
send my
Take
regards
care.
to Alia and
Yeah. Inshallah.
Aram.
Yeah. Inshallah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Thank you,
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you,
everyone.
sir.
Uh,
Thank you, Aidil,
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Taufik,
Yeah, thank
Ani,
you.
See you.
Shazwani, and Nabila. Thank you very much for the session.
Um,
All right.
Right.
Don't
Okay,
forget
Thank
to
you.
share the recording, okay?
No,
Okay.
we'll see you again, sir.
all right.
Okay. Right.
See you,
Assalamualaikum.
inshallah. Yes, sir.
Waalaikumsalam.
See you. Hopefully, let us internet your place.
Yeah.
Inshallah.